This show is presented by 2 Pound Sports and Entertainment. All right, boxing fans, and now from the Clackamas Armory right here in Portland, Oregon, are you ready for some action-packed action?
Welcome to 2 Pound Sports and Entertainment's Fight Night 3 in Portland, Oregon. I'm Patrick Connor.
I'm Karen A. Tate.
And we're here for 2 Pound Sports and Entertainment's Fight Night 3. That's right, this is the third one, and tonight, Steve 2 Pound Forbes is making his comeback. 4 years out of the ring, that's the main event tonight, and Victor Morales Jr. also making his way in.
Yeah, we've got 5 great fights on the card tonight. We've got everything weight-wise from featherweight all the way up to super welterweight, and all the fights should be really exciting.
You know, we have a couple of 4-rounders to start us out here, but then, like I said, Steve 2 Pound Forbes in a 7-round main event, and then right before that, Victor Morales Jr. in an 8-rounder. We are going to have a lot of fun tonight here at the Clackamas Armory.
Yeah, we've got a lot of local talent and some standout amateurs making their pro debuts, and a couple of them just a couple fights into their pro careers, so it should be really great to see them develop tonight.
I agree, Karen. This is a very important night here for Portland and for the Pacific Northwest, and I can't wait till we get underway.
Yeah, and you got to applaud the evenly matched fight here. They're both 0-1, both MMA fighters coming over to boxing and are relatively new to this sport, so it's great.
At the very least, you know, it might not be a ultimate high-level fight in terms of skill, ability, record, and whatnot, but they're both 0-1. They're both hungry. They're both coming off a loss, and both of these guys want this win. That's important.
It is important. A lot of times, you know, especially with younger fighters, that hunger can overcome any sort of lack of elite skill, if you will.
We can definitely see a fight that perhaps, it can be elevated by the fighter's efforts and by the hunger and drive, even if it's not the highest level of skill.
Absolutely.
Just getting some last-minute check over from the commission in Abdul Kamara's corner. Ian King sitting across the ring, patiently waiting as if this is just another day in the office for him.
All right, boxing fans, this bout is scheduled for 4 rounds of boxing, and it's a super welterweight bout. Introducing first, representing Minsker Boxing Gym and boxing out of the blue corner, he wears the red trunks trimmed in blue. He holds a professional record of no wins with only 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 10 inches tall and weighed in at 152 pounds. Boxing out of Portland, Oregon, introducing Ian King. And now introducing his opponent, representing Gracie Baja, Portland, and boxing out of the red corner. He wears the red trunks, trimmed in gray. He also holds a professional record of no wins with 1 loss. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed in at 151 pounds even. He was a 2015 Oregon Gold Gloves champion. Boxing out of Vancouver, Washington, introducing Abdul Kamara. Your referee, Joey Passarello.
Last-minute instructions from referee Joey Passarello here. Just making sure these guys come out, fight a good fight. This Clackamas crowd is just chomping at the bit for some action here, and Ian King and Abdul Kamara coming out. You know, they're going a little bit slower. They're looking to feel each other out here, but they're getting into it.
Yeah, King is unorthodox. You can see lots of movement, awkwardness. I think he's kind of using the fact that he's relatively new to the pro boxing game anyway to his advantage by, throwing some awkward movements and angles at Kamara.
Well, I think that you actually hit the nail on the head there, and Abdul Kamara told me before the fight that he had actually started out boxing and knew a little bit more about boxing overall, and it sounds like Ian King does, who is primarily a mixed martial artist. And you can kind of tell by the way that they're balancing themselves, and that is to say that Ian King is not really balancing himself a lot, and his stance is very wide overall, which is a little bit more conducive to a mixed martial artist stance,
Yeah.
whereas Kamara is a little bit more balanced, just a little bit more perhaps rigid, perhaps anxious, but a little bit more straight up and down. However, you can notice right off the bat that there's not a lot of intelligent head movement from either guy.
Yeah, it's definitely true. But yeah, I agree. Kamara got just a lot tighter of a stance. There are fewer openings, I would say, than what King is offering. But so far, neither guy landing a whole lot of consequence.
Well, I guess that's the also, especially for King, I guess that's kind of that's what you get, is when you're not sitting down on your punches, you're not going to be able to generate much power. And as you can see, he's on the balls of his feet and kind of looking to come forward rather than sitting down on the heels of his feet. And that means that a lot of these punches that he's landing are kind of slaps.
Yeah, and landed a good shot there on Kamara. But I was going to say, I think the main thing King is missing here, there he threw a couple, but are some good jabs. He's throwing a lot of kind of wide looping punches and, like you say, kind of slapping punches. And I think that's something, so far anyway, Kamara has over on him, is, he's throwing some nice jabs, nice 1-2s, a little more fundamentals showing here in the first round.
You got it. And also I've noticed that Ian King is not really clenching his fists very tightly when he's throwing his punches. He's liable to hurt his hands doing that. But
yeah.
Tell you what, in the last 20 seconds of this first round, both guys are looking a little bit tired, although Ian King a bit more so.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the dangers of taking a fight on short notice, right? You may be in shape, you may be in gym shape. These guys you can clearly see are both in pretty good shape. But it's a little bit different from being fight ready. And yeah, you can sometimes see, like you mentioned here, King is breathing through his mouth already in round one. Kamara seems less tired.
Well, we're one round into this 2-pound sports and entertainment fight night 3 card, and it was not a particularly eventful round, if we're being totally honest here, but these guys they're getting to work. And you could already tell that Ian King, a little bit more tired, like you said, Karen, at the end of the round there. Abdul Kamara he's already off of his stool. He's ready to come out.
Yeah, he's ready to go. And I mean, you gotta mention, Kamara being the 2015 Oregon Golden Gloves champion. That counts for a lot. Like you mentioned, he started off in boxing, and he clearly, has some solid fundamentals going on. And I think we may see that play out as the rounds progress here.
There you see Ian King flashing a 1-2, but then getting nailed with the right hand by Kamara in that first round there.
Yeah, King was busy in that first round and moved a lot, but you might even say a little bit of wasted movement. It might be not helping his energy so much by moving that much. And Kamara, I would say, landed the more meaningful punches in round one, but we'll see what happens here.
You can already see Kamara jabbing to the body in round 2, a very intelligent strategy. That's kind of one of those moves that, forgive the expression, separates the men from the boys, Karen.
Indeed, yeah. I am always a fan of seeing fighters go to the body, especially early. It's a very smart and experienced move, especially when, in this case, they both took the fight on short notice, but he can see the same thing we do, certainly, that King is breathing through his mouth, he's tired, he's wearing him down already. That body work is only helping.
Good left hook to the body a few different times here in round 2 already for Abdul Kamara, and he actually led with a kind of looping right hand before throwing that left hook to the body. That's a pretty serious combination, a lead right, left hook to the body. That's serious.
Yeah, indeed. I think Kamara is feeling pretty comfortable here. He's feeling like he can kind of put his punches together, and clearly is confident in what's going on here.
I think if nothing else, we're seeing a difference in athleticism from Kamara and King here, in the sense that Kamara just looks far more with it, far more tight, far more compact, far more, just spry. He's ready to spring at any moment, and you could see that Ian King already kind of looks like he's wearing down. He's taken a few right hands in this round. And, you mentioned it a moment ago, but both these guys took this fight on about 24 hours notice. And like I said earlier, that's boxing. A couple right hands seem to rock Ian King just a little bit toward the ropes near us, though.
Kamara caught himself there before he hit King on the back of the head by accident.
Ian King spun just a little bit prematurely there, and Kamara almost hit him, but snapping that left jab nicely is Kamara.
Yeah, you can see Kamara is definitely the more polished boxer, landing some really clean punches, and that body work is really wearing King down, and he sees it very clearly. He landed a right hand direct to the solar plexus, it looked to me like, a few seconds ago, and it clearly hurt King. So I think he's definitely wearing him down.
It's difficult to say if it's those cheekbones that were already red when King came into the fight, but it does look like that left cheekbone of him that's taking those right hands just like that is reddening just a little bit more. But we're in the last 15 seconds or so of the second round, and we'll see what these guys have to offer at the close here. Last 10 seconds or so, Kamara lands another right hand that was probably about the 5th or 6th of the second round, and he's obviously establishing something there.
Definitely, yeah. I think he's kind of found the openings, if you will, on King, and I also got to applaud King here for having a ton of heart. He's really trying. He didn't come here to lose. He's trying everything he knows to do. It's just that right now Kamara's wearing him down, and it's a gradual but pretty obvious thing right now.
A good replay of Kamara landing a couple of those right hands, and then earlier there was a nice replay of that left hook from earlier in the round of the body. And that's exactly the kind of thing that's going to be sending Ian King home with another loss here if he doesn't figure out a way to stem the tide.
You can see in those replays, when Kamara lands a good body shot, in particular, King winces, and that's the sort of thing a fighter is definitely going to be taking note of during the round.
No question, Karen, and even just taking a quick visual, not knowing a whole lot about boxing, taking a quick visual, you could see that Ian King's got his mouth wide open, face red. Abdul Kamara, mouth is closed. He looks comfortable.
He does. Jab to the body from Kamara. It's good work.
Perhaps getting a little overzealous with that right hand, reaching with it just a tad, falling short and kind of falling forward. But, interesting fact about Abdul Kamara, he told me before the fight, he has a severe stutter, and he started fighting. He started boxing and mixed martial arts to help him overcome that stutter and the anxiety that produce it.
So many great stories in boxing like that the sport has helped so many people with different issues, confidence, and speech impediments, lots of different things, physical issues.
That right hand really definitely rocked Ian King there.
Yeah. But yeah, Kamara looks very confident here.
Well, and Ian King his head is more or less stationary, and his left glove is low. That right hand is going to come in again, and I think that we're going to have a fairly early night for Abdul Kamara here.
I think you're right. I think part of the reason King's hands are so low, too, is that body work. And I think, fighters can't help but bring their arms down when their body starts to hurt like that. And that's to the credit of Kamara.
He definitely started with that body work early on in this fight, and he's continuing with it. It's not an easy thing to do is first get started with it, but, second, keep it up. It's once you start landing to the head, all of a sudden you start head hunting and the body goes second. It goes away, and he's still keeping it up, though.
He is. I think it shows that amateur experience that Kamara has You know, he knows different things to look for, and I think he saw the damage he was doing to the body and felt, you know, let me go back down there. I think that's very smart.
Not to hedge myself too much here, but actually Abdul Kamara in the last 30 seconds or so actually looks a little bit arm weary. He's winging his punches without a whole lot of power in him. He might be getting a little bit tired himself, but that right hand again rocked Ian King. Another right hand, and Ian King just can't stay away from him.
Left hook to the body really hurt King.
Yeah, Ian King's hiding it well, but he's kind of wobbling to and fro here.
Yeah, his legs are looking a little shaky.
Yep, all of a sudden that bounce in his step is just about gone. Ian King might just be getting saved by the 10-second clacker here in round 3. Might have another round left in him if he can avoid getting caught here. You can definitely tell that Abdul Kamara exerted himself more in that round, and he's feeling it, but he definitely looks a bit better for wear than Ian King in his corner there.
Definitely, yeah. Kamara may have punched himself out a bit there, but now he's got a rest. So we'll see what comes in round 4.
Here we're seeing Abdul Kamara leaning in a little bit, and then he lands that right hand that you can see just kind of stops Ian King in his tracks. Here's that another right hand toward the end of the round that almost turned Ian King around. And Abdul Kamara again standing in his corner, ready to come out for this 4th and final round. Ian King a little bit more slow off his stool. We're going to have to see what happens in this last round, Karen.
It should be an exciting round. See if Kamara can finish the job or if King can survive and maybe figure something out. You never know.
Big embrace from these two warriors who, as I said, know each other from the mixed martial arts community in Portland, Oregon here. And they're underway in the 4th round, doing their best to peg each other, make something happen. But Abdul Kamara thus far, through 3 rounds, has been in command, and partially because of that right hand that he's landing right there.
And again, you know, I think another thing that King can work on is a nice jab. You know, if he could establish a jab and help himself gauge the distance a bit better, I think that would help him a lot in boxing.
Abdul Kamara just landed a kind of a funky counter right uppercut. It's not something you see a whole lot in boxing, and perhaps that also could be speaking a bit to his lack of experience. Is countering with an uppercut like that from the rear can get you caught with a left hook real bad.
Definitely.
But that being said, Abdul Kamara looks like he's getting a warning for a kidney punch. But they get back to the action here. Ian King leaning forward with a jab, trying to do something.
King landed a right hand on Kamara there. Kamara's going back down to the body, which I think is very smart. He was headhunting a little bit at the beginning of this round.
You know, the funny thing, it's a bit of a paradox, but the way that, well, Ian King gets caught a little bit there again with his feet crossed, actually.
Yeah.
But, and I was just about to say, the funny thing about being so unorthodox is that it actually kind of gives him a bit of cover in the sense that he's more unpredictable, and perhaps if he were a bit more straight up and down, a bit more orthodox, you know, Abdul Kamara might have already caught him and put this one to bed, but he's not really able to land that clean because of Ian King's movement.
Yeah, definitely. I think right now King's movement is his biggest strength at this moment.
Of course, we just keep getting caught as soon as we're opening our mouth, but right when we said that, his movement slows down as he's obviously getting tagged and doesn't like it much. Abdul Kamara just a little bit shy with a lot of those shots, perhaps owing to the fact that it's the 4th round. He's getting a little bit tired himself, but he's still getting a couple of those right hands in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the clear difference in fighters here, to me, it comes down to boxing experience, right? Kamara isn't experienced as a pro, but he has some amateur experience, and that's helping him just have tighter fundamentals here. And King, has a loose defense despite his unorthodox movement and all, makes it difficult.
Another big embrace after the fourth round comes to an end. Ian King obviously took a number of relatively big shots in that last round, but these guys made it.
Yeah.
They made it, and we are one fight through 2 Pound Sports and Entertainment's Fight Night 3.
I think King is definitely feeling that fight, but I got to applaud his heart again. He came to fight. He took this fight on short notice, as did Kamara, and I applaud young fighters doing that sort of thing. That's not easy.
Well, and a bit of a couple of right hand, left hook from Abdul Kamara on the replay there, and then another right hand toward the end of the round. Kind of an ugly scene in Ian King's corner currently. He's having a bit of an issue and vomiting up in his corner. Now, of course, I don't mean to laugh because that can sometimes be a dangerous thing, but my guess is that those left hooks to the body started getting to him.
Yeah, I think he took more body shots in this fight than he did head shots, so hopefully it's not a concussion issue.
He seems pretty lucid otherwise, and just perhaps a little bit of damaged pride. But needless to say, assuming that everything's on the up and up here, Karen, Abdul Kamara should be coming out of this thing with a win, going 1-1.
No question there.
We're going to send it on up to ring announcer Garrett Fertig with the decision in just a moment here. Are we waiting on the music to send it in to Garrett? Ah, gotcha.
All right, boxing fans, after 4 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards for the decision. All 3 judges scored the contest 40-36 for your winner by unanimous decision, Abdul Kamara.
There's Abdul Kamara advancing his record to 1-1, picking up his first victory over Ian King. As I said earlier, these guys know each other a little bit.
All right, I'm here with Abdul Kamara. You took this fight on about, 10 minutes notice, it seemed like. You came from work to weigh-ins because they called you because they needed a fight. What do you fans think? Did they put on a pretty good fight? So going into this, being at short notice, what was your plan going in?
Man, you know what? First of all, I just want to give a big round of applause to Ian King because he was able to come out within 24 hours and hopefully put on a pretty good show for you guys. But this honestly was an opportunity, and I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. So thank you, Steve Forbes and Christiana. I really appreciate it.
All right, I don't think anything else needs to be said. I always like watching you work, my friend.
Hold on. And again, please bring me back because I'm excited to keep on putting a show for you fans. I really appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Once again, your winner, Abdul Kamara. This show is presented by 2 Pound Sports and Entertainment.